Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to dive into the ultimate neurological whodunit, the complete vanishing of your first 3 years of life. Seriously, think about it for a second. The most dramatic, explosive period of growth and learning your brain will ever undergo just exists in almost complete silence. This isn't like, forgetting where you left your keys. This is a systematic, near total erasure of the entire first chapter of your existence. For a long time, nobody could really explain why this happens. But today, we've got some answers, and they are absolutely fascinating. I mean, where did those years actually go? You were conscious, you were feeling things, experiencing a brand new world at an astonishing rate. And yet, you don't remember being born, or taking your first steps, or the first time you tasted something sweet. But those moments definitely happened. You were unambiguously there, probably causing total chaos, right? And yet, none of it sticks. From day one, newborns recognize their mother's voice. They show clear preferences. There is someone home up there. So we're investigating exactly where those memories went and why you literally cannot access them today. Now, to actually solve this mystery, we first have to understand that memory isn't just a video recording where you hit save. It's actually really counterintuitive. When something happens to you, the emotional content goes to one part of your brain, the sensory details go somewhere else entirely, and the sequence of events goes to yet another region. So to have a memory of the "I was there and this happened" variety, your brain has to actively stitch all these scattered sensory and emotional puzzle pieces together into a stable, accessible package. All right, so let's look at our prime suspects. 3 brain development culprits that build our case for why this massive erasure happens. It turns out there isn't just one single reason your brain drops all these puzzle pieces. There are actually 3 overlapping biological and cognitive culprits responsible for infantile amnesia. And the really crazy part? They're all operating simultaneously during the absolute most formative period of your life. It's basically the perfect storm for a total memory wipe. Okay, let's dive into suspect number 1, the hippocampus. Think of this as your brain's memory indexer. It's the region that actually binds all those scattered puzzle pieces we just talked about into a coherent, retrievable whole. The issue? In human infants, the hippocampus is dramatically underdeveloped. The neurons are there, sure, but that dense, complex network of links that makes efficient memory encoding possible, it simply hasn't formed yet. And I love this analogy because it brilliantly illustrates the infant brain. It's like a camera that doesn't have a memory card yet. A baby experiencing something amazing or scary is literally like trying to record a video on that camera. The lens works flawlessly, the processor is running hot, you're taking in all the sights and sounds, but there's absolutely nowhere for the footage to go. The hardware to file a long-term, retrievable narrative memory just isn't finished yet. Moving on to suspect number 2, explosive neurogenesis. So for a long time, scientists actually thought we were born with all the neurons we'd ever have. Turns out, totally wrong. Our brains generate new neurons continuously. But here's the twist. In early childhood, the rate of generating new neurons in the hippocampus is extraordinarily high, way higher than at any later point in your life. And essentially, your brain trades away your ability to consolidate memories in exchange for maximum learning capacity. Imagine your infant brain as this totally chaotic young library, and it's adding hundreds of new shelves every single day. Books are just being piled in way faster than they can possibly be cataloged. Because the organization system keeps physically changing as new sections are built, old books don't stay where you put them. This relentless rewiring of the filing system makes stable, long-term memories literally impossible. And our third culprit is the absence of language. Now, this isn't just about babies not knowing the words to tell a story. Language acts as the actual cognitive scaffolding of memory itself. Infants definitely have a sense of self, but it's a present tense self. They're experiencing the right now. But to build an autobiographical self, the kind that says, "I remember when I was 2 and this happened," you need language to stretch backward in time. Without that scaffolding, you just cannot construct a narrator to actually own the memory. Okay, but wait, that brings us to the fake memory illusion. What about those early moments you do think you remember? I know exactly what you're thinking. Actually, scratch that. I definitely remember my 2nd birthday. Well, let's look at the science because it gets a little uncomfortable here. How did you get that memory? You probably saw a photo of yourself in a party hat, or you heard a family story repeated endlessly at gatherings about how you smashed your hands into the cake. You heard that story and saw that photo so many times that your brain eventually built a mental representation of it. And then, amazingly, it filed that representation away exactly as if it were a genuine first-person memory.
So, is your earliest memory real, or is it just a story? It's deeply unsettling to confront, but many of your earliest memories are actually completely fabricated reconstructions, and they're experientially indistinguishable from real experiences. Your brain is just so good at constructing a narrative from external information that your earliest memory of your own life is very likely, at least in part, just a story other people told you about yourself.
Which brings us to another critical piece of evidence. Let's look at what the brain was actually doing, basically building the operating system during those missing years.
Look at this number, 18. If your brain wasn't saving memories, what was taking up all that incredible processing power? Well, newborns sleep up to 18 hours a day, and their sleep architecture is radically different from ours. They spend vast amounts of time in active REM-like states. For decades, researchers thought this was just some biological quirk. But now we understand that this massive amount of sleep is serving a highly specific function. They are busy consolidating foundational learning.
During all those sleep hours, your infant brain wasn't wasting time saving individual memory files. It was doing something way more important. It was installing the fundamental operating system for reality. It was learning how physical objects behave in space, how faces work, how social interactions flow. I mean, you don't explicitly remember learning that objects are solid, but you know it effortlessly every moment of your life. The experiences of your first years were processed into architecture rather than narrative.
So leading into our final section here, your invisible emotional foundation. What does all of this invisible architecture mean for who you are today? It really comes down to the difference between explicit and implicit memory. Infantile amnesia completely erased your explicit memory, the conscious stories and receipts you can pull up, but it left your implicit memory completely intact. If you cried as a baby and were consistently soothed, your nervous system learned at a deep biological level that distress is temporary and the world is safe. If you weren't, it learned a different default calibration. You don't remember the specific nights, but those nights absolutely added up into automatic emotional reflexes. Your early years were the most consequential of your life because they laid down the architecture of your emotional responses, long before you had the awareness to realize you were absorbing them. You forgot the experiences, sure, but you absolutely kept the lessons. The attachment patterns, the way you respond to uncertainty, the fears that seem to come from nowhere. All of that has roots in a period of your life perfectly hidden from your conscious mind.
The first years of your life mattered more than almost any that followed. You received emotional calibrations from your caregivers before you even had the language to know what was happening, leaving us with this profound question. What invisible lessons did you absorb back then, and how are they quietly running the show today? You may not have the receipts, but you are living the results every single day. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I hope it gave you something genuinely fascinating to think about.